なんか私、すごい目がキラキラしとる。ちょっと待って。違う。なんでこんなキリッとしてる？なんか困っちゃった。はい、ということで始めていこうと思います。おい、コンピカ。いらっしゃい。ベルネルさんかな？待って。読み方間違ってるかもしれない。ブラネルさんだ。ブラネルさんいらっしゃい。で、ケペー、アルティックいらっしゃい。はい、ちょっとカシュって音鳴らせてないんですけども、間違って開けてしまいましたってことでね。レモン堂のうま白レモン飲んでおります。はい、ということでやっていこうと思います。これは、よく、なんだ指示されるゲーム。AM ってなんだ？ AM って午前1時から今は9時3分ね。音とか大丈夫かな？待って。何？てめえちょっと一言いいですか？何ですか？ゲームを起動した時に2回ともちゃんと時間を設定してくれてありがとうございます。そう、これさ、試しに1回開いて設定したんだよ。こんなこと言われんの？ほとんどの人はこのステップを真剣にできない。彼らはただ12時のままで切り上げてしまうのです。はい。でもあなたは実際に時間を合わせてくれましたし、私はそれに感謝しているんです。ちょっと待って、今日私さ、反抗期でいるつもりにいたんだけど、最初からいい子みたいになってるじゃん。やめてよ。それってあなたがこの体験を大切にしてちゃんと注意を払ってくれているってことだと思うんです。ちょっと待って、私悪い子になる予定なんだって。宝塔ちゃんいらっしゃいって言ってなかったかもしれない。宝塔ちゃんいらっしゃい。あなたが居合わせた時間が正しいかどうか知る術はないですけどね。そうだ、こうしましょうよ。何？あなたは協力的ですし、どうせだったら次にこのゲームを起動してこの画面が表示されたらあなたの一番好きな時間を設定してください。はあ。どうぞセットしたい時間を好きに選んで正しい時間でしなくても構いませんよ。あなたがちゃんと協力してくれたらからですよって特別ですよみたいな。これ声入ってる？大丈夫？入ってんね。よし、じゃあそろそろゲームに戻りましょうか。ちょっと待ってよ。なんか反抗期でいるつもりなんだって今日は。はい。ここの画面まで行ってて、配信外ではまだ中身やってないのでね、ゲームプレイと思っていただければと思います。まあ、こういう感じでね、ナレーターがね、干渉してくるんですよね、私に。もうしょっぱなから干渉されたわ。高評価4件ありがとう。これローディング中かな？音とかどうだろう？こんなもんで OK？これはスタニーという名の男の。これ文字とか見えますかね、ちゃんと。
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been
仕事には満足してるんだ。なんか同じような仕事ばっかりしてたけど、何は幸せでした。
And then one day something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
もう動ける。感度いいな。すごい。ちょっと待って。で感度だけちょっと出たいと思います。 てもあんまり変わりないな。はい。ということで始まりました。まあ、仕事人間のスタンリーが会社に来たけど誰もいないなって感じかな。すごいな、動き方。まずはお酒を飲みます。誰もいない会社だからね。うん。正しい選択です。音とかもなってるよね。まあ、一応、ホラゲとかではないはずなので。どうして閉まった勝手に。これは電話を見落としたのでしょう。会議室早く行けって言われてないこれみんな会議室あ、いや、行くか。とこ良さそうだしな。どれだけ探してもってのはさすがにもうないのか。絵飾ってある。なんか物が落ちてるの会社としてどうなんだろうね、こうやってスーっていくな。スー。これ設定で変えられないのかな。カメラかんのコントローラー振動違うの。これがデフォか。まあしょうがないか。本当に誰もいない。なんかさ、小部屋がちゃんと用意されてるのいいな。こうやって。てかこれさ、よくよく考えたらさ、これ番号でこうなってるってことは、社員一人一人が番号で呼ばれてるってことかな。なんかそんな気しない？怖っ。なんか屋根裏から逃げ出そうとしてる人いない？会議室行かなきゃいけないのかな。行ける場所がないもんね。ほんとサガサしてんの。
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
彼は左のドアに入りましたって言ったら右に入ろう。
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
こっちには会議室ないんだって。私はこっちに行きたいなって思ったからこっちに来たんですよ。これ
？Yes, truly a room worth
この部屋は本当褒めたたえ
It
る
had
価値が
really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here,
見惚れ
drinking
ま
it
した。
all in.
止まってない。見惚れません。ポン。
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
左側のドアに入りましたって言われた。あれ戻れない。夜だったらちょっと怖い。あ、もっと怖いかも。なるほどね。ここ何？こっちは？こっち何？左の部屋ってこれかな？
And so
あ、
he
閉まっちゃった。
detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
これは？あーどっか行っちゃった。ちょっと待って。どっか行っちゃった。
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the
し
office.
かしスタンリーはオフィスに戻りたくなかったのです。
And get even further off track. So now, in order to get back, he needed to go,
困ってる。
from here, it's, left.
ナレーターめっちゃ困ってない？
Oh, no.
あ、違う
No,
の？
it's
違
my
う。
mistake.
なんだよ。怒ったよ。
No.
なんだよ。ちょっと。
Why would I have ever said it was to the
どっ
right?
ちどっちどっち？
What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
なんか資料開いてる。資料開いてる資料。
Let's see, we went down right.
めっちゃ困らせちゃったじゃん。
Right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely
ス
this
トー
way.
リーは絶対にこっち。オッケー？閉まらない？大丈夫？あ。なんか暗いよ。なんか電気ついてるし、この車。てか、ハマりすぎじゃないこれ。ぴったり。シンデレラフィットしてんだけど。 なんだろう。会議室一回も見てないわ。どうしよう。めちゃくちゃルートから外れてない私、もしかして。雇用がありがとう。なに
No, 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 no. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here.
ネタバレ。待って、これ最後のとこ来ちゃったってこと？目を閉じてだって。あ、違うの？もう全然ダメだわ。全編完全に使い物になりませんよ。最初からしろって言われてる。切れてないこれ。切れてない。切れてるやんけ。ごめんって。待って、ネタバレ踏んじゃった今、もしかして。嘘、そんな開始10分でネタバレだと甘げたんだ。いやマジで最初からだ。こっち来たらどれだけ探してもって言われるやつもなく、もうさっきやったでしょってことね。オッケー。じゃあしょうがないから部屋のとこまでまあささっと行きましょうよ。
When Stanley... Wait.
Nani?
Wait, what? No, no, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be...
ミスってんだけど、ナレーターが。
Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room?
何も書いてないですよ、私は。
Did you move the story somewhere or...
いや、やってない、やってない。
Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure.
おお。
Let's find the story.
どこでも行けるって思ったらここだけ行けねえ。右か左かだったじゃん。じゃあさ、左、こっち行きたい、こっち。冒険じゃ。よいしょ、よいしょ。作った本人がわけわかんなくなってんのおもろいな。ここはなんか怪しい部屋多くない？この会社絶対迷子になる。一番最悪な冒険。ここには前にストーリーが作者にあった。
Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot.
あ、リスタートさせられるこれ。マジ？いいぜ。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
3回目だけど。3回目なの本人も分かってるよね、これ多分。あれ？
Okay, yep, it's worse.
もっとひどいぞ。
It's possible the story is back where we just came from.
ドアないけど。
Back the other direction.
戻らせてくれるの？ゲームバグり始めちゃったじゃん、私のせいで。なんか見落としてないか？こことか行けないのかな？行けないな。あそこに部屋あんのそもそも。明るいな、そして。
I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes.
来た来たって言ってる。
No, wait, never mind.
来てないじゃん。
And retrace our steps.
確かに私が最初間違ったけど、ちょっとどうなってんですかね。あれ？あ？なんか変わってる。
Now this, well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this.
見覚えないの。
Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that
そう、
correct?
オフィスビルだよね。
Do you remember, Stanley?
私、
Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about
何を
this?
しようとしたか忘れちゃったから。
You win! Congratulations!
勝った。
And it really paid off. So, good job. Oh no. I don't feel right about this at all.
勝ったぞ。
We both know we didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay? I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
もう無限ループじゃん。なんかある。こっち行けよのルートがあるやんけもう。
Alright, I've got a solution. This time to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed
迷子だと思われた。
the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
こう行くでしょ。こっち？こっちはもうなんもないってこと？
No, I'm done. We're leaving it up to the line from now on.
もうあっち行けよと。オッケー。しょうがないな。でやるぜ。ソリティアやってるやんこれ。ソリティアも地味に楽しいんだよな。よいしょ。
You see, the line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right? Okay. Now, if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office
めっちゃ喋るやん。
the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct? Whoa.
何？どうした？
That got a bit weird back there.
うん。
Well, I'd like to apologize.
私もどこに向かってるか分かんないやこれ。
You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit
音
of
楽？
music to lighten the mood.
あ、ここから来たな。うるっさ。音楽流れ出したんだけど。なんかあの道に行きたくない。せっかくでもなんか同じとこぐるぐる回ってんだよねこれ。あ、行くしかないのかな。分かったよ。音楽うるさ。戻ってきちゃった。ランラララでも確かに楽しい音楽だわ。ランラン言ってるだけで楽しいもんね。地味に。ここの上ですか。この下とか行けないのかな。いけないかな。よいしょっと。なんか本当にこれでいいのか。なんかビヨンってなってるけどここ。めっちゃハテナじゃない。これ怖い。これさ他に道ないの。なんか抗いたいんだけど終わっちゃうよ。こっちはこっち。何この揺れは。この揺れ何これ。怖い。しまった。結構いろいろ飛ばしてる気がするんだけど大丈夫そう？マジで何も。
Cut the music. Go back and look at that fern.
来た。
Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
指示中極まってきてんな。それこっちだよってやってるからね。 私普通に言うこと聞いちゃったじゃん今。シダってランダララランダラッ
Wait,
ダ
what? We're back at the office? No, no, no. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
シダここだけこれあるのなんか不思議だな。でもなんか室内ってなんか観葉植物あった方がなんかいいってのは聞くけどね。なんか作業をすることとかニョキニョキ伸びていい感じみたいなあれ
Still missing the doors. Did we make a mistake following the line? Perhaps we could have found the story on our own.
もうここの部屋には扉は現れないってこと？もう最初から全然違うとこ行ったせいでこんなことになっちゃった。バグったってこと？ランダリョリョリョドロッド。これ私さっき言ったところじゃない？
Oh, no, 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 not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? After we trusted you. After everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this
切れちゃった。うんざりしちゃった。絶対最後あそこつくんじゃん。もう LINE にそ
I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Oh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
あ、なんか違う道開いた。自分で開けらんないのかな自分で開けたいな、これ。
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just
なんで
me
ネ
and
タバレ
Stanley
見る
forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild.
ワイルド。
Use your imagination.
音ゲーにしようぜ
Whatever。it
ラ
might be,
ンランラ
Stanley.
ンランラン。
I'm ready for it.
誰もいねえな。てか、この無意味な廊下は何なんだ曲がりくねった道の先に。LINE 来た。
Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge
モニ
it.
タールーム行くなって言ってる
Fine.
ね。およくありがとう。このラインもなんか荒ぶってるもんね、さっきから。なんだこの、ギュン、ギュンって。物理的になんかなってないこれ。怖っ。初めて見る部屋。
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in
お
our
ーい、ストー
control.
リー進むか
How
な
important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere.
これこうやって回れってこと
Somewhere at the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads
反対
here.
回りにしようよ。
And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to
ドア
where
を開ける
we're
と
going?
私たちに行きたいところにたどり
Since
着け
the
るでしょう。
answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
右に行こうぜって言ってんのか。あれどっちが右？あ、こっちが右。あ、こっち開かないの？左行きたい。なんか、あ、もう行くしかないのか。混乱エンド。
Hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me
エリアントエンドの私は同じ
it's
ってこ
all
と？
one
どういうこと？
giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all
8回？
determined?
もう8回のリスタート。
So now,
ナレー
according
ター
to
が
the
いなくなる。つい
schedule,
に
I
スタンリーが
restart
死ぬ。
again. Then we-
ネタバレやんけ。
Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be.
混乱してるやん。本人が混乱してる。スターリーって死ぬんですか？ほんとそれ。おもろいって、なんか私より反抗期なんだけど、ナレーターの方が。ああ、はい、まとまった。お、なんとかなったの
？Whatever it is that made this schedule, how would we even know?
何か起こるのかな？
Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay.
あ、免疫ついてる。
I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey. Though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we?
あ、待ってろってこと？ちょっと読んで
In
み
the
る？
meantime,
え、怖っ。おうおうおう。スタンリー死ぬんですか？
all of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
最初から？
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed
で
a
も
memo.
聞いたよ。混乱エンドで終わったから最初からになったとかそういう感じ？どういうこと？あるある。
When Stanley came to a set of
あ、これ最初と一緒だ。
he entered the door on his left.
一回ぐらい聞いてやるか。どうよ。聞いたよ。左来たよ。何も言わないんじゃん。来たのに褒めてよ。ちゃんとしたとこに来たんだから。
Yet
会議
there
室。
was not a single person here
誰も
either.
いないね。
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer
オ
there.
フィスに行くことにしました。何の会社なんだろうこれ。読めないかな。うわ、勝手に動いてんだ。なんか見えないだけでいるんじゃねえのこれ。そういうわけではない。怖いな。見えないだけでいるっての怖いな。なんかこ
Coming
っ
to a
ちに
staircase, Stanley
What-
walks
Arjan.
upstairs to his boss's office.
下行こうよ。何ここ？何ここ？車。
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his
上
post
司だ
during
ね。
work
ストー
hours.
リー考えてくれてるじゃん今。
Hard for that. And in such a
上
competitive
司だからなん
economy,
か。
why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe
Maybe.
I am crazy. All of my
I'm
co-workers
crazy.
blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating?
夢じゃね？
No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion
確かに足ないな。
tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming!
I'm dreaming.
This is all a dream.
This is all a
What a
dream.
relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up
夢な
soon.
んだ。
I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may
二
as
度寝
well
だ、
enjoy
二度寝。
this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above.
おー、夢じゃんマジ
He
で。
imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner.
これ同じだ。
Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be?
同じとこぐるぐる回ってんだ
Was
けど。
Stanley deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that?
めっちゃ喋るやん。
This voice was a part of himself too.
盛り上がってる、盛り上がってる。
Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in
これは
control,
夢だと証
that
明
this
するのね。
was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over.
夢の中で夢って気づくことほとんどないんだよね、
Let me
私。
continue pushing the buttons. Please. It's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job.
妻いるん
All
だ
I。want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything
コ
will
ン
be
ビがたけし
fine.
さんいらっしゃい。
I am
ナレーターがめっちゃくちゃテンション上がってきちゃってる。あれ夢じゃないやん。
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I?
役者だ。
And everything went black.
はい。はい。
This is the story of a woman named
なんか、
Mariella.
なんか違う人出てきたけど。
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work.
Huh?
But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew.
なんで
Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in
え、何を見て
control
そう
of
思
my
ったの
life. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this. And in a certain way,
え、怖いよ。
seeing this
し
man made her feel very
死体見てそれ思うのめちゃくちゃ怖いよ。
The very important people
クレイジ
whose
ー。
impressions of her would affect her
ふささんいらっしゃい。トットさんも
by
いらっしゃい。
extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she
So-
stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
そのまま死体そのままにしてって言ったのスタンリーうそんあ、共演度だった。ああ、びっくりした。ごめん。ネタバレだったな。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it
無
mean?
限ループやんけ。
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
もうちょっと。もうちょっと。
When Stanley came to a set of
右
two
の部屋
open
行って
doors,
み
this
よう
was
よ。
not the correct way to the meeting room, and
はい。
Stanley knew it perfectly
で、
well.
こっ
Perhaps he wanted
ち
to
行
stop by the
って、
employee lounge first, just to admire it.
ここ
Wow.
で。
Yes, this room.
いい部屋
What
だ
a
な
beautiful
ー
room. What a gorgeous. But
Oh, yeah.
eager to get out of business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
で、ここ左に行ったんだよね、確か。で、スイッチから下降りてったら、ネタバレ踏んだみたいな感じだったんだよね。
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible it
何でも
wasn't
クビにならな
5
かったのが
years
信
ago.
じられません。わお。いや、こっちの部屋に行ってみたいなって気分だったんです。何ここ。何ここ。
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and
Già sta.
plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you want to.
グッジョブ言われたわ。ちょっと待って、今の部屋まで行きたい、また。行けるでしょ。
All of his co-workers were
どういう
gone.
ことだろう。
What could it
全
mean?
くもってわからんまいよ
Stanley
ね。
decided to go to the meeting
実際に夢だったの
room.
かな。
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
死んでた場所おかしかったよね。ああ。
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and
まっ
Stanley
す
knew
ぐ
it
行って
perfectly
あの部屋
well.
行きたいわけよね。
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. What was it about this room
なんかさっきと言ってる
that
こと
called
違くな
so
い？
deeply and so personally to Stanley? Its grace, its subtle charm. No. Stanley knew it was
ダークな
something
何
deeper,
か。
something darker.
Something dark.
But eager to get back to business,
Yeah?
Stanley took the first open door on his left.
じゃあすぐ行きますと。
Stanley was so bad at following
信じ
directions,
られま
it's
せんとね。
incredible he
OK。
wasn't fired years ago.
これ多分、これだよね。
Look, Stanley,
お
I think
お
perhaps we've
あの
got
さ、スタンリー、もしかしたら私たちはデジハナをくじかれたのかもしれません。
I realize that investing in your trust in someone else.
僕敵じゃないよって言って
The
る。
fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself.
お願いされてるわ。
Not asking for me.
彼女のため。
Her.
誰だ？
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her
あな
back
たの人
into
生
your
取り戻すの
life.
です。何なん
She's
か、
been waiting.
彼女なんかあるの？なんか、取り戻さなきゃいけない。暗っ！ああ
That's her, Stanley.
怖
You
い
need
怖い
to
怖
be
い。
the one to do this. To reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
え、怖いで。え？眩しい。ん？
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven.
うん。
All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
怖い怖い怖い怖い。
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm
こい
trying
つ
to make a point here,
こい
Stanley.
つ
I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
こいつでっち上げたな。
Sorry,
Ah.
but you're in my story now.
さあ。ああ。これが妻で
This is
す。
a very sad story about the death of a man named
について語
Stanley.
ったとても。え？スペースオンユアキーボードどれ？O を押せばいいの？
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
はいを押してください。
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly
今
what
押
he's
してるわ。
told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
ああ。よくわかんないけど、これ押してって言われたら押してるみたいな、そういう
But
こ
in
と？
his mind, in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
テレビを見るために G を、テレビなんてなくない？これか。
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off
さっきの
the
状
face
態だ
of
ね。
the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
少年差しと過ごすために Q を押してください。え、少
So
年たち
he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either.
ドアを開い
At
ても
last,
選択で。
choice. It
え、何も見えてないけ
barely
ど。
mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
夕食の準備をするために O を押してください。
As he wandered through this
あ、
fantasy
夕食。
world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And
あ、いい
down
ね。さっ
another
きの
was a
ね。
game with a
ばっ
baby.
ちゃんと遊
And
び
he called it the Stanley Parable.
あ、友達に読み聞かせをするために N を押してください。
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so
え、何をさせられてるの？
lived it
布団あるここ
and
に。
then again and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel
機
this.
械的に毎日を過ごしてるってこ
Surely there's
と？
an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
あなたの妻に愛を伝えるために F を押してください。
But there is no
妻いなくな
answer.
ったけど。
How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's
これ
doing
私の部屋
is
じゃん。
pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
寝るために Z を押してください。
And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
押してはいけませんよって書いてある。あー、出勤なんて押すなよってこと？え？
You see? Can he just not hear?
押してみた。
How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he
だってそれ以外選択しないじゃん。
kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
質問しないために B を押してください。
I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again.
死んでください。
And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
死んだの？タンリーめちゃくちゃ死なない？こうやって見ると。
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself, that's all I need. If I can make it through this door, I can make it through them all.
なんかめたいこと言ってるけど。けどドアを通り抜けられる？全然通り抜けらんないけど。
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors,
左
he
行くか。
entered the door on his left.
右行ってからの左に行くルートあったよね。あっちでもいいな。それも見てみようか。
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley for the first time, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
左でさっきこ
And
こ
so he
に
detoured through the maintenance section,
ここに入ってしまって
walked
怒られ
straight
たん
ahead
だ
to
よ。
the opposite door, and got back on track.
正しいルートってこと？戻っても何にもないんじゃない？ああ、やっぱそうだ。だからこっちはどのみち正しいルートになっちゃうってことね。
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office.
上の階に行こうとして下に行ったわけよ。
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked
上
upstairs
行くか。
to his boss's office.
うわ、上司のとこの壁すごいな。 クリックしたら開くの？うわ、読めない。ボス。トイレでっかこのトイレ。鏡曇ってますけど。勝手に閉まるな。何の会社なんだろうこれ。パンダが銃口つけられてる。つけられてる。突きつけられてる。
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any
背拍子で何にも伝わらない。
Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
2、8、4、9って言わなかった？ 2、8、4、5?
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
何これ？なんか秘密の部屋ってこと？上司の。なんか怖いんだけど。なんか弾丸論破じゃんこれもう裁判所行くじゃん。
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
なんかガツンっていった。もう一回押せんの？押せるわ。
Whoops. Nope. Never mind. Stanley actually got back into the elevator and went back up.
話変えた。
How did he do that when he knew that it would just lead back to his boss's office? Well, that's a great question. I just can't wait to find out.
これもう一回降りたら困惑すんのかな。着いたよ。動かなくなっちゃった。動かなくなっちゃった。あの先見てみたかったな。
Here we are, Stanley. It's your boss's office. Exactly the way it was before you got onto the elevator. It's still just exactly what it is. What a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again. This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated. It's that keen eye for storytelling that you have, an incisive rapid fire of critical plot points, one after the other, weaving a rich tapestry of uncompromising narrative. Wow. I'm bolted to the edge of my seat.
あ、もうまた下行ける。
Incredible. Now he's
ま
getting
た下に行くのですか？
going down again. Ladies and gentlemen, how does he keep coming up?
これはどれだけこのことを引き出し続けるのでしょう。お？なんかこんなだっけ？もう一回押す
？Did you think we were going to go forward down the spooky corridor? No.
No.
It's time once again to go back up in the elevator. I can't even begin to grapple with what might be up there. Is it the boss's office again? Or what if it's the boss's office this time? The suspense is killing me.
ドキドキしちゃうとか言ってる あ、ちゃんと戻ってこれた。上司の部屋。
Oh my god. It's the boss's office. This absolutely changes everything for me. Give me a time out here for a minute while I process this.
何してる？何？はい。上司の部屋、やっぱあったよねってこと。
Okay, I'm ready. I'm prepared to embrace this stunning revelation and to move forward with... No! No, wait! No! I need more time to process.
そうですよ。ああ。だね、データ書き換えるのって大変らしいからね。頑張ってくださいよ。そう、私は行きたいとこに行くんでね。うんうん。あ。レモン丼うま。あ。今日とんかつ食べに行ったんだけどさ、めちゃくちゃ美味しかったんだよね。安くて。
I have made space in my worldview for this astonishing new reality. As before, I turn to your expert eye for gripping narrative, Master Stanley.
アニー先生、はい。いますか？これ下行ってまた。下行ってまた上戻ったら、今度なんか。
I mean, sure, now it's obvious, but you have to understand that 30 seconds ago, this kind of thing had never been attempted before. I had no frame of reference to even anticipate it. That's just how revelatory Stanley's decision-making is. A breath of fresh air in a landscape of storytelling that has grown stale and repetitive.
これ行って戻ったら、今度書き換えられてるってことかな。あっ怖い。書き換えられてるかな。あのさ、なんか今思っただけちょっと待って一回止めよう。
Anticipation, Stanley. You and I, we have no way of knowing what will be at the top of this elevator, but the suspense. The agony of waiting and anticipating and having to guess, that's the real thrill. Oh, I simply don't want to let that feeling go. It's so precious, so fleeting. Why don't we take this elevator ride nice and slow?
めっちゃゆっくり。
There we go. Isn't this so much more exciting, you know, Stanley? It seems like nowadays the only thing that audiences want is to be shocked as loudly and frequently as possible. They want big, explosive moments flung right in their faces from the very moment that things get started.
ああ。まあね、大きい出来事の方がね、湧くっていうのがあるからね。
Why aren't we given time to imagine the surprises?
優しいスピードで。
To have to think and to anticipate and then to marvel at the eventual reveal. This is storytelling, Stanley. What you and I are doing right now. This is the most exciting narrative to be developed in years. And it's really all because of you. You're the one who took this bold step of revisiting the exact same locations over and over. Truly, I mean it. This is unique and different. It's not like
なんか居酒屋で興味ない話聞かされてるみたいになってる今。
I want to have to think. I want to be engaged and not passive.
なるほどね。
We're being fed such unimaginative drivel all the time, and we all know it. Which is why we're so starved for content that makes us feel sharp and vital and alive. That's why people like you so much, Stanley. Because you're not afraid to spit in the face of tradition. You're a role model, you know? People look up to you. Which is why, though I didn't know when to spring this on you, but, well, I've gathered a little press conference.
あなたのために小さな記者会見を開くことにしました。
Your storytelling and your life. Yes, I know you're not much for the public eye, but I thought it would especially mean a lot to the people who have been following you from the beginning. They really look up to you, Stanley. I don't know if you realize the impact you have on them. This is the kind of gesture.
ゆったりとした時間が流れて、あ、本当だ。あれ？
Oh good, we're here.
あれ？
Okay, the room holding the press conference should be just around the corner here somewhere.
記者会見だって。 タンリー、スタンリー、スタンリー、スタンリー。私のための記者会見に来ていただきありがとうございます。はーい。ね、今日はあることないこと言っていきたいと思うのでね。あ、ベイビーかわいいね。
Ah, yes, here it is, just through this door.
え？いや、違うの。そっち。
All right, are you ready? I've told them you're going to speak a little bit about the nature of surprise in storytelling and what it means to craft a truly
彼らって誰？
unpredictable narrative. Oh, don't
あ、
worry.
心配しないで。
You'll
きっ
do
とうま
great.
くやれ
Just
ま
be
す。
yourself and speak from the
本
heart.
当？
I'm
ちょ
really
っと
proud of
こうい
you,
う会見
Stanley.
初めてだからさ、私。
Okay, it looks like they're ready for you. Go get them.
ガンバーこの427ってなんだろう。ちょっとメモっといていい？すごいこういうの気になっちゃってメモっちゃう。なんだろう。なんかこれあれだよね。なんか綺麗に自分が映るためのライト。目に痛いな。すごいなこの模様。なんか目みたい。見られてるって感じ。ほら来たね。行くかー。よくありがとう。こんにちは。ピカピカです。いや、待たせたね、みんな。待たせたね。ああ、世界のピカピカですけども。なんか踊ってね、一人。いい。音が。そういう夢を見たのさ。
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself, that's all I need. If I can make it through this door, I can make it through them all.
部屋を抜けれればいいって、あの部屋を抜けることすらちょっと怖いと思ってるってことなのかな、スタンリー自体が。
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here
サク
either.
サクサク
Feeling
パ
a
ン
wave
ダっ
of
てこ
disbelief,
と。
Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase,
これ下行った
Stanley
時っ
walked
て
upstairs to his boss's office.
夢落ちエンドしかなかったっけ？
But Stanley just couldn't do it.
夢落
He
ちエンドしか
considered
な
the
かったかな、ここ。
possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had
あ、やべ
left
え、
his
ちょっ
post during work
と
hours.
同じ
He
感じ
might
かも
be
しれない。
fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had
同
vanished.
じこと言ってる。
His boss would think he was crazy.
同じこと言ってる。これ、
And then
その
something
うち
occurred to Stanley.
宙に浮かぶぞ。
Maybe, he thought to himself,
これ
maybe
で
I
宙に
am
浮かんでみよう。
crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all.
う
None of it
ん。
made any logical sense.
うん。
And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked
これ
down?
怖いよね。
Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating?
よし。
No, Stanley
飲
said
む
to
か。
himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real.
お、地下には行ってはいけないということが分かりましたね、これで。
That had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming!
I'm dreaming!
This is all a dream. Oh,
This is all a dream.
he finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice.
全然関係ないけどめちゃくちゃ部屋が暑い。
Thinking about how it's
エ
describing
アコンつけますね。
he thought.
寒い。
He thought it all very
暑い。
odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams. The truth was that of
これ
course
長いな。
this was not a
これさ、もう一回始めるってするとさ、さっきまでの起こってたこと全部なくなるのかな。
dream.
どうなんだろ
How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself? Believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have
調べてみよう。
to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as
もう一度
awake
始める。
right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely,
ああ、
surely,
わか
if
んな
he
いな。
could
ネタ
just...
バレ踏まないように調べるのちょっときついかもな。
He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently.
もう一度始めるにしたら最初からになるか否か。
All of his co-workers were gone.
あ
What could it
あ、
mean? Stanley decided to go to the
どういう
meeting
こと
room.
だろうになっちゃった
Perhaps
な。
he had simply missed a memo.
さっきまでの記憶なくなったんかな、この人。
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors,
ちょっと言うこと
he
聞
entered
く
the door
か。
on his left.
ちょっとだけだけどね。
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to
さ
his
っきのやつ
boss's
さっきと
office.
同じ感じになりそうだっ
Quickly
たか
coming to
ら。
a staircase, Stanley walked
ノウシーの
upstairs
とこ行
to
く
his
と。
boss's office.
こっちの部屋行ってないんだよね。これを飾ってる意味って何なんだろう。なんかピンポン。エレベーター。さあ行こう。お、なんか流れてる。陽気スタンディ。まだ1時間しか経ってないや。ビール開けます。乾杯。ああ。パッパーって言ったな今。パッパー。ポンポン。やべえ。さっきもちらっと言ってたけど、とんかつ食べてさ、お腹いっぱいでしょうがないんだよね。まだパンダやん。あれあなんか揺れてるだけこれこの乗り物揺れてるだけえこんなことあるどの道こっちにいなきゃいけない
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings,
ビールこぼした
desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be?
キーパッド
In fact, this
ここに
keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret pin number. 2845. But of course,
2845
Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Yeah.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad,
でここが
Stanley
開い
happened
た
to
と。
input the correct code by sheer luck.
で今度はちょ
He
っと一
stepped into
旦
the newly opened
このまま行っちゃう
passageway.
か。素直に行こう。うん。素直さって大事だから。おお。
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that
マイン
read
ドコン
Mind
トロール
Control
施設。
Facility.
こんな大きく堂々と書くこういうのって。
Although this passageway had the
脱
word
出と書かれ
escape
ても。
written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent
実は
death.
この通路の終わりで死が訪れる。どういう
The door behind him was not shut.
何の後ろのドア
Stanley
が閉
still
まって
had every opportunity to turn around
帰れ
and
よ
get back
帰れ
on
よ
track.
行くなよ行くなよってなってないこれ。脱出って書いてるから
At
脱
this
出できんじゃないの
Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
なんだこれ。ピーえ、すごいすごいすごいすごいすごい。動ける。うわ、なんだ。
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this
やばいやばいやばいやばい
Perhaps
やばい
his death
こ
was
っから
a
飛び乗るとかさ飛び乗るとかさできるじゃん何かしら、
So he
ああでも飛び降りたら死ぬなこれ
accepted this violent
あ
end to his brief
ありがとうみんな
farewell, Stanley.
バイバイありがとういい
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as
Narrator?
Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws.
誰
In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him
摩擦
instantly.
完全に摩擦されましたいるが
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as
確かに
alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
うんナレーター変わったんだけど
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same.
眩しいこ
Do
こ
you see now?
あ
Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit
スタンリーが
start?
スタートした瞬間もう彼が死んでいたことが分かりますかああ死んでたの2つのドアこの2つのドアというセットがかなりの初期段階でデザインの具体的なものの一つのこの部屋を作ることでその延長線上にゲームの内容が現れこの部屋がもたらす矛盾を探っていくことになりましたこっちでやってたこの扉のとこだよねここねこの冒頭部分のテンポが重要でこの廊下を動かしたり変更したりしてプレイヤーが良いタイミングで2つのドアへ列横にたどり着くようにしていますまあどの道ここにたどり着くよってことでねダンディのパソコン何ここなんか博物館みたいになってるけどスタンリー博物館始まってるけどオフィスね123ってあってね何これ見たことないよボタンの音リリこれ気持ちいい3番 3番が気持ちいいです。3番でお願いします。あ、オフィスのパソコン。そう、ソリティアやってるの1個あった。あ、飛ぶ棚出んの？クレジット。何この部屋。なんかさ、特別なことしないと入れないみたいな、そういうスペースみたいな感じのところに来ちゃったけど。なんか博物館だけど、本当に見たことないやつとか普通にあるけど。メンテナンスルーム初期バージョン。あ、こんな感じだったんだじゃないのよ。もうこのメンテナンスルームみたいなやつもう最初の最初で行っちゃったから、なんかめちゃくちゃキレられちゃったけど。こんなのもあるの？光線地帯。開発当初、私たちはスタンリーがエイリアンと戦場で戦うエンディングをデザインして、何言ってんの？このアクションゲームは知覚を持ち始め、ナレーターと戦うことになるのです。ネタバレ。あ、でもエイリアンと戦うっていう時にってこと？私たちは作り始めてすぐにこのゲームのトーンに対し冗談が過ぎるということに気がつきました。さらにシューティング好きな人たちをからかっていると解釈する人もいましたが、そういう意図はありませんでした。なるほどね。ここまで作ったんだ、一応。じゃないの。普通に観光なのよ、これも。お金だ。ナレーターのメール。2回目の予告。今、カチって音しなかった？完璧な使い道を見つけられませんでした。はい。カチ、増えてる。内容変わってる。ラウンジね。で、キーバージョンとかこうやって見れるんだ。お祭り。今。会議室。いや、これどうすりゃいいんだ？エンディングモデル。エンディングレバー。なんだ予告編。ゲームの開発中4つの大きなディーザートレーラーを流しました。どれもゲームの精神について伝えるものです。これは初期のもので2012年の5月に公開されました。修理中。なるほどね。ここから出たいんですけど、ここから出してクレメンス。どこから帰ればいいの？これ絶対いろいろ見終わった後に来る場所だって。うわ、モデルルームみたいなのある。何これ？カウントダウンデスクじゃない、デスク。カウントダウンエンド初期のバージョン。カウントダウンエンド知らないのよ。カウントダウンエンドを知らないのよ。笑われた。
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can
これさっきのとこじゃん。
before they both fail.
プログラム止められる？
Escape.
エスケープ終了してこのままはそれ以外に方法はないの？こういうこと？
As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path.
これ何？メニュー終了しろって言いたいのこれ。怖い。
Be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it.
何でもいいからそうして時間が何でもいいからそうしてよって言われて、これどうすればいいの？これ押したらどうなの？ でも、
For you, don't let
怖い。何させようとしてんのこれ。ナレーターが変わったじゃない。だから、そのナレーターが、自体が、男性の声のナレーター自体が敵で、今喋ってるのが本物の人だから、その人に従った方がいいとか、そういうのあるのかな。何終了しろって言われたよね、今すぐに。まだいける？もう死んじゃった？ごめん。あらー。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
いや、あれで終了してたらどうなってたんだろう。ちょっと待って、終了させてみたいな。なんか知らない部屋があるけど。
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
あっちじゃないんだ。どこ連れてかれるのこれ。なんか、こういうアトラクションあるよね。
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
おう。
As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in
2013
2013
年。
on
昔からのは存じておりました。
After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers.
昔
The
や
Stanley
ってたやつとは
Parable
違うんだね、や
Ultra
っぱ。
Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please
なんか手書き
step
感いい
inside
な。
and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
めちゃんこワクワクしてるって書いてあったのよ。めちゃんこって書いてあったぞよ。
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet.
さっきの女の人のナレーター何だったんだろう。
Of a mesmerizing adventure.
大丈夫だったの？あの時に終わっとけばよかったんかな。
Is it broken? What's going on here?
聞こえないけど。
Should we be moving
閉じ込められた？もしかし
Oh,
て。
there we go.
あ、始まった。
Alright, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more
やろうぜ、
ready.
やろうぜ。
Let's do it.
まだかな。
To say initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe mostly tedious.
まあまあ退屈
It's
ですよ
as
ね。
if- Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
コンテンツちょうだいよ、スタンリー。だ
All right. All right, let's see it.
どうする？
The jump circle?
30回やれって。いいよ、飛ぶよ。せーの。うちのなんか学校のクラス、定員割れしすぎて、人が少なすぎてですね、なんか大縄跳び、なんか別のクラスより2倍飛ばないと1回分にしてくれないみたいなのあったな。それだけ？
Is that it?
これはそれなの？
Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be
何もない
something
ね。
else, right?
だってナレーターと一緒に困惑してんだけど今私。ジャンプできるよここだったらってこと？そういうことじゃないの？それだけ？
Goodness. Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this
それはマジでその通りなの。
exciting new content? If this is new content, Then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could counter 30 trillion.
切れてる切れてる切れてる。
The Stanley Parable
落ち着いて。
Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And
つくんじゃないつくん、ほらほらついてるついてる。
there's more.
よし、新コンテンツだ新コンテンツ。
I knew there had to be something
おお、なん
else.
か
Let's see it.
綺麗な場
I'm
所です
ready
よ。
for whatever it is.
ほらないで。
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me.
Thank
see,
you
Stanley,
for
this is what happens
the
when greedy
new
video game
content.
developers with no
あ、
respect
読めね
for their fan base rush at cheap
ごめん
expansions and
君
markets
怒ってる間あれだけど私読めてねえんだわ何書かれてんのこれ
craftsmanship that's gone into
ありがとう
it. In fact, I'm looking right
みん
now
な
at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says
コン
test
テン
achievement
ツ
please ignore.
新しい
What
コンテン
quality
ツ
assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to
新しいコンテンツしてくれてありがとうとか
and
な
hold
そういう
them
感じ
personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations.
ぴょんぴょんできたねってことでしょ
Why don't we just reset the game?
私と一緒にい
And
てくれ
we'll
るの
try
は
to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like
なん
always.
か怖いな
What do you say, friend?
そうなのうちらあらあらじゃあさっきのなんかもしあなたになんかあなたができるならみたいなできるなら今すぐスタートに戻ってその場所じゃないよ
Psst. Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
何見せたいものじゃあ気になる気になる何なんだろう好奇心には勝てなかったわ
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
開発者にはバレないように作った部屋ってこと何ここ
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on
すごい
PC.
すごい全然違う世界観だパンとか入ってそう
You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013 when the
ゲームが
game
発売された
originally launched?
2013年10
Back
月のこ
then,
と
video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
メモリアルなんかまたなんか過去のやつを見れるよみたいなスペース来ちゃったけど特別館第2号ってことあこれさっき見た私のエンディングピアノあるあそこ歌い出した何感動的にしようとしてるし歌うことによって何ここ
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism. 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com.
なんかこれ嫌だな
Stephanie Sterling writes, and
石積んでるんだけど
where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of
聞
art.
かせて
Stanley Parable strives and then
だから
succeeds to be every game ever created. Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them. And now
スカイリムとかペルソナとか言い出したよ。
it's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
やってる？おー。スタンリー。
Here's another moving passage, this time from
行くべ
GameSpot.com.
きだったかな。
The Stanley
ここにも
Parable
自
is
転
both
車あ
a
る。
richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10.
10
Don't you
点
get
中
it,
9
Stanley?
点。
The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone. To spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video games.
昔の方が評価高かったって言いたいのかなこれ。余計なこと増やしたせいでみたいな。
But I wouldn't give to go back to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam.
Steam.
Online video
販売レビュー集。
game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here.
スチームって書いて
Surely
る。
these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
レビューがここにいっぱいあるってこと？グッドもあるけど。
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining.
切れてる切れてる。
Funny? I'm trying to make a silly
切れてる切れてる。
I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights.
そうだ
I
ね。
can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
まあでもなんか面白いと思うよ私は。どこ行った？いやーマイナス評価ばっかりやん。こんな部屋あるんだ。
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets
積
annoying.
極ささが必見
Preachy?
だし。
Stanley, I'm not preachy, am I?
積極臭いというかな、まあまあまあまあ。
Oh goodness, this is actually quite shocking.
ショック受けるんだね。
Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did, but maybe it wasn't.
なんか
Yeah. What an awful memory to have to
めちゃくちゃへこんでない？
these black
大
marks
丈
on
夫？
my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down.
へこんでるやん。
Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
あ、まあまあ。まだあるな。そこにもあるな。ここ最後じゃない？
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we
ス
shall
キップボ
have.
タン導入してくれるの？マジ？なんか違うスキップボタンじゃないこれもしかして。なんか例えばそのなんか説教が長すぎるから同じようなことが起きた時にスキップをしたいっていうさっきの私みたいなことじゃないの？なんか同じとこ来ちゃったの同じこと繰り返してるなって時
And
のスキ
here
ップ
it
バージョンじゃない？
is. Go ahead and give it a shot.
これなんか違いそうじゃない？
So that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly, and you can tell me what you think. Okay, so my theory is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you are, or were, or will be at the time of having made said choice. That is to say, if by articulating a choice you've already made, you bring that choice into being, then by making no choice and saying nothing, are you not simply erecting in the sanctuary of time a monument to every person you've ever been, making every choice to which you've ever given your Greek gift of mortal and yet timeless thought? Or rather, do all of the choices you've ever made in fact make you more not this kind of person, and in fact do the very opposite? You see, it could in fact be both of these things at once. Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this. Their Steam review. Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 45 minutes? Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times, and there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you and the button, and if you keep pressing it, I have no idea what will happen. I have no idea how long I'll be made to sit here, and more than anything else. Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh my goodness. I have someone to talk to again.
ナレーター
I think it's been
一週間ぶりあ、押せば押すほど長くなってるんだこれ
all that time, just sitting here, not a single person to speak with.
え、寂しくなっちゃってんじゃん自分で作っておいて
It's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? Oh, hello, it's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place not more than one entire year?
え、これ怖いな
For you. To
大
begin
切な
with,
人
there is only regret.
からしたらめちゃくちゃ怖い
There's
ことになってる
only
ね
the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest
これ消すことできない
longing
の
to undo the past.
君は
And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed down into a single instant. In that instant, I could see myself clearly, calmly, with a collected heart. It was an impossibly rich wellspring of both delight and disgust simultaneously. I was consumed by it. I could do nothing but wallow in it.
だいぶかわいそうになってきたんだけど
What I now know was far less. You see, it was a revelation for me. It was unlike anything I had ever known.
え、慣れた慣れたあ、時計落ちてる
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs down review and make all of their pitiful demands. And then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us. Now he went, shut up. It's the inconsistency. It's the
どうすればいいのこれ。
The end is never the end is never the end is never the
なんか映ってない？映ってない？ちょっと待って、怖い怖い怖い怖い。水垂れてきてる。崩壊すんじゃない？そのうちこれ。ああ、崩壊してるわ。言ったそばから。何年後だろうこれ。お、あ、外が見える。出れんじゃないこれ。どうにかしたら。ダメかな。もう一回やる？ナレーターいなくなってない？すごいなんかなんかこういう廃墟に緑が綺麗にあるっての結構割と好きだなあれ？緑なくなっちゃった。評価8件ありがとう。どうすらなくなっちゃった。あ、開いてる開いてる開いてる。何もなくなっちゃってる。ナレーターいなくなっちゃった。逆にこの部屋だけなんか残ってんのすごくない？あ、ボタンも使えないってこと？そういうことだよね。変なエンディング来ちゃった。どっか向かった方がいい場所とかあんのかな？編成感すごいな。お？ここに戻ってくるんだ。何事もなかったかのように絶対精神崩壊してたじゃん、この人ニューコンテンツあ、関わってるニューコンテンツが新しくなってんだけどいきますか？私のサイン？君のニューコンテンツなのこれは。君が作ったニューコンテンツなのこれ。結構前回のやつジャンプできたってだけだったけど。気づいてくれてよかったって言ったけどめちゃくちゃ気づくよなあれは。行き方に関してはあんまり変わりないのか。
Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever The
Stanley Parable 2。ああ、ニューコンテンツ。
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why the
数年隔ててここ作ったってこ
It
と
could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
なんかおしゃれな感じになりましたね。だいぶ。ピヨピヨ言ってるピヨピヨ。
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising.
おしゃれ。だいぶおしゃれだが。スタンリーパラブル。
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I
二
figured
頭身だ。
that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
なんかすごい映画館みたいになってる。なんか別に映画とか映像を見せるためのものじゃなさそうだな。普通に。おしゃれだな。普通になんかこういう施設ありそうだよね。
Go on, try out some of the new features.
新機能頼みしてみて。
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first edition... Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim.
私がジムってこ
I
と
want you to imagine yourself living as Jim. Sneaking and
暴論だ
waking
な。
up
お前がジムになればこれはジムって呼んでるからなんかお前に問いかけてるみたいなそういう感じ。
all the world's possibilities as Jim, and as Jim watching your Jim. Whoa, hold on. I wasn't finished setting up the backstory. If you don't properly roleplay,
いや、私ジムじゃないん
then
で。
you'll never understand the impact of this button. Otherwise, it's just a stupid button that says somebody else's name. Okay, we're doing it again, and this time let me finish first. Now, allow
嫌です。
yourself to become Jim.
私はジムじゃないで
Imagine
す。
yourself driving to... All right, fine, whatever. It's just a meaningless button that says Jim. Are you happy now? Get out. I'm done with this button. Why don't you go humiliate me in front of a different feature that I worked very hard on?
切れてるじゃん。これ2の部屋だったよね。
Maybe I'll only let people named Jim play the Stanley Parable 2. They would appreciate what I've created here.
全部2だ。あ、そっか。そっか。スタンリーなんちゃら2ってことだもんね、今ね。ではなんか大きいなんかがある。
Now, here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to... Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
部屋は何もない。 新要素としてなんだっけ、なんちゃら2、スタンリー2をやってい
What
る。
else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
展示、ここのなんかでっかい、あ、おしゃれだなあれ。いいスタンリー、これスタンリーかな。お、なんか宇宙みたい。何ここ。
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle
なんか
the
人みたいなのない。
intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
あれスタンリーか。何これ、何これ、気持ち悪い。これ気持ち悪いんだけど。なんかゲットしたいらないもう私はジムじゃない。I'm not ジム。
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
って言ったから、あ、すごいなんかさ、味噌焼き食べたくなってきた。これジャンプのやつだ。
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's a... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle. Oh well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece then.
もうジャンプしきっちゃったから、そう、ジャンプの数があって、その分だけここでジャンプできるよっていうわけわかんないギミックがあったんだよ。全部はぴょんぴょんしまくっちゃった。弦の穴、フリー実績。This is new。弦の穴が気になる。普通になんかアトラクションみたいな。キングチャンピオン。大勢であの人形取り合ってたの、確かにだいぶみんなに欲せられたというか、めちゃくちゃ求められてる
An
やつね。
epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, yes, it would go at the end of the well, we'll
ストーリー
figure
後
it
で
out
考えるよって言ってる。これ以外はどうすりゃいいのこれ。これ無限のこの名前をいうボタンは言ったけど、私はジムじゃなかったと。無限の穴はいいのか。もうなくない？では入ってきた場所すごい。
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical.
わか
That
り
it
にくい、矛盾
engendered
して
a
みる。
chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps
鉄を持ってるといい気分になるってこと。
you may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on. Give it a try.
すごい魔法のバケツみたいなやつ勧められてるんだけど怖いんだけど。何笑ってる笑ってるなんす
Can
か
you feel it?
何
The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be
バケツを持っただけで
and in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of
あ
charisma?
このバケツがあるから私もう大
I
丈
think
夫
that
ってこ
just
と
holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on and on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
ギャハハってなったけどこれどうすりゃいいのバケツどうすればいいどっか行く場所あるこれあないよね 開いてる開いてる。このバケツを持ってどっか行こうぜって話。よいしょ。
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
でしょう。置いた場所ないかなこれ。ぐるぐる回ってるわ、あそこのスタン。どこから出てきたんだもん。これは自分の名前をゲームだって認識させるゲームでしょ。でも上になんか部屋あったよね。いけないのかなグザワールドチャンピオン。入れないんだよね。いけないよね。バケツ邪魔だな。何のバケツだこれ。あっち行ってないんじゃない？あっちから来たんだっけ私たち。
Stanley,
Oh.
here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is in fact a hole that you can fall
落ち
down
続けることができるな。
Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
ああ、落ちちゃった。普通に落ちちゃった。
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward. Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport
お
button
すすめ
to
し
get
ま
back
す。
to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things.
勧められたけど、勧められたってことはこのままでいた方がいいんじゃないの？
Okay, Stanley. I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole. Is it a very, very deep hole?
でも深い穴でしょうか。そうです。きます。極めて深い。じゃあ終わりがあるってことね。
I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a...
あ、いった。
Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated.
私の問題にされたん。
What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely? I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem. Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
あ、すごい。めっちゃ上に、でも光は見えるんだ。めちゃくちゃ長い穴でも。見えなそうなもんだけどね。めっちゃタバコ捨てられてるけど。これ戻んなきゃダメ？よし。
Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel. Oh, for heaven. You see, I was right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much. A normal person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there. Goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of...
ピン。
Oh. Did the hole
うん、
seem
なんか
even
穴短くな
shorter
った
to
気
you
する
this
けど。
time? I couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole, but I didn't think it was that not infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above.
もう落ちんのやめろよと。
Had enough? I'm positively
あ、なんか穴ちっちゃくなってない？
I really do
ねえ
have
ねえ
so much more
穴
to show
ちっ
you
ちゃくなってない？
and to talk about. Gosh, how could I have guessed? Go back in the hole. If this starts to become a thing where Wow. Okay.
あ、でもやっぱ近くなってるやっぱ
I'm
り。
starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not
こ
only
の穴はただ無限の穴だけじゃな
but that it's
く
growing
小さ
steadily
くなって
less
る。
and
うん、
less
そうだよね。
I
タバコとか
suspect
も
I'm
落ちたやつ
starting to
が
get
あ
to
る
the
わ。
point
これ
where
は
it's no
一緒なんだ
longer
ね。
feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability in marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it
っ
gets
て
any
いくらか
shorter.
短くなってる。
Well, there it is. The shame
Ah.
of my lie has... How is this still appealing?
これどこにあなたを利用するんですか？
But at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh, who am I to judge? You just do whatever it is you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on.
ボタン、押してるけど。
Teleport button not working? You sure?
マジです、マ
Well, I
ジ。
mean, I really don't have an explanation. It was working just a moment ago. Try it again. Still nothing?
ダメダメダメ。
Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out. Goodbye, Stanley. You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked for. It's a win for everyone. You get to be with the hole, I get to do literally anything else. Take care, Stanley.
見捨てられた。
Have a wonderful rest of it.
どっか行った？どっか行っちゃった。え？スタンリー一人にさせるの？座って。おい。そうなったよ、今、大きい。なんか待ってたらなんか起きそう？え、なんか下がってる下がってる。なんだなんだ。なんか壮大な音楽とともになんかラフトとかで流れそう。点を変える？何この視点？何何の機能だよ。意識を変える。え？ルルルンルルルンドゥルルンドゥルルンドゥルルンドゥルルンってこと？何が始まってんの今。めっちゃ曲ある。はい。ただの現実を変える。わあ。何が起きてんのマジで。お。雑。雑すぎる。犬だ。何これ。何これ。あなた自身を変える。おお。 すごいすごい作り物感すごい。写真でしょこれ、もう作ったやつでしょ。あ、これいいじゃん。エラー。
Stanley? Stanley?
何
Oh, good, you're awake. It seems you had sort of dozed off there,
あ、そうなの？
drifting away into dreamland. But we can't have that, Stanley, because this hole is just so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every second of it. You don't want to miss a single moment. So how about if I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to keep you really, truly focused on the hole? From the looks of things, you and I will have many, many years.
これ何、一生ここにいるの？
And I'm looking forward to all of them. Stay alert, Stanley. I'll be back. Toodle pip. あ、ローディング始まった。終わった？今の何？アナエンドってこと？アナエンドってこと？いや違う。 Here we are. Go on. Try out some of the
あー、今のでやっぱ穴エンドで穴に入らずにちゃんと外出てなんか次に進んでくださいよってこと？だるかしょうがないな。もう穴のやつある。もう普通になんかもうこの穴終着点あるよって感じのこと書いてあるやんね。もうあれこっちじゃないっけ？あ、あ、
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
あ、普通に、あ、どっちがいいってこと？こっち。
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Happy 12th birthday, step niece, it is.
今選んだ方と違う方選んだじゃん。あ、風船引っかかってる。
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No. No, I've made my decision. We're moving on.
先に進むって言っても先に進む場所がないんだよな。入れないしね。穴の部屋入れなくなってたよね。そしてどこ行けばいいんだろう。さっき言ったけどもうなんもない。やだよね。あれ動かないし。なんかつければようになるとかそういうこと？このバケツ何なの？なんとか戻れないかな。どうにかしたら開かないかな。あの部屋行けないよね。もうどの道ここに戻される予定の部屋だったってことでいいのかな。すごいマックのナゲット食べたくなってきた。ことなんだろうな。行ってないとかあとある？こことか行ってないかな。あ、ここ行ってる。出口あるやんけ。出口って書いてあるわ。あ、出口か。変なバケツ持ってるけど。
All right, have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
よ、次進むよ。すごいアートって感じ。あのイラスト。おう。
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful
まとめ
gameplay
て調整して意味あるゲームをプレイしよう。
Okay. Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2.
何これ
Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort
どういう
of...
こと
Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement.
アレンジ
Okay, yes. Yes, this is much better. I feel good about
あーなんかあっただけだ
Here
った
we
の
go. Version
バージョン
2.
2あんまり変わりないけど
Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would
取り入れ
capture
て
all
る
the
新要
magic
素
of
があ
the
んまり
first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game.
スタンリーの話からなんかスタンリーじゃなくてナレーターがどうやってゲーム作っていくかの話になってきてないこれ今気づいたけどあれ自分の話じゃなかったっけこれ
Bold and uncompromising conviction. This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up.
くれんの
All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
なんだホラーゲームみたいなんだけどえ
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee.
えなんか風船出てる私が選ばれなかったやつ
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
12歳おめでとうって
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
うんあバケツだ
Stanley picked up the bucket.
バケツ導入してるじゃんさっきのやつ穴絶対どっかに出てくるしバケツがあると強くなれる気になれるんだ
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest, and this was not the correct way to the meeting room. But Stanley had felt the bucket call
しかし何はバケツ
telling
が
him that the employee
バケツが叫んでるって思ってる
lounge was supposed to be.
バケツは喋らないよ
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be.
バケツに対しての圧倒的な
Never mind.
気にするもんかバケツが悪かったんだ
Stanley
どういうこと
took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room. No, said the bucket.
ダメだバケツは言いました
meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go
Hi.
to the cargo lift.
やっぱねでしょジャンプの機能はどこにも使わないんかね
Good, said the bucket. Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
一番上まで行く
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked. In here, said the bucket. Go into this dark room over here. Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
あ、部屋ここ暗くなかったさっき。奥か。で、またなんか電話が始まるんでしょ。
Now pick up the phone, said the bucket. Pick up the phone, and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together.
これ待ってたらどうなるんだろう。待ってても何もなんない？
This is the sad story of
悲しいわ。彼のバケツの悲しい物語。ちょっとなんか違うぞ。私はスタンリーにバケツをあげました。彼は孤独でこの。
And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
新しいバケツのストーリー始まっちゃった。バケツないよ。でもいいね、このキッチン。L 字型のキッチンってなんかおしゃれでいいよね。え？どうすりゃいいの？これ。バケツ。ハロー、スタンリー、僕だよ。君のバケツだよ。僕を君と戻すために N を押して。はい。
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
ああ。え？別にいなくなってない？いなくなってるどころかなんか全然何も開いてないけど。どっかにバケツあんのかな？無意識にバケツ探し始めちゃったじゃん。あったわ。僕を君の家へ連れて帰るために Y を押して。はい。
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me. Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think, it can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location.
それただのバケツだよって説得されてる。でもそういうギミックにしたの君でしょうが。このうるさい男の言うことを聞くな。僕たちが家へ帰るために H を押して。
You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal. It's sad, but I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket.
バケツを選ぶか自分を選ぶか選べみたいな状態になってない？
Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it.
なんかこれで待ってたりすると何か別のストーリーが始まるとかありそうだよね。でも。
Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say?
ぼんやり光ってるの気持ちいいじゃない。
Capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
この同じ日を何度も僕と繰り返せるよ。
Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket?
繰り返してる。
I'm having feelings.
あ
For the bucket. No. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I
バケツ
don't
の言うこと聞
understand.
くなんか
Perhaps if I had the bucket, this
なんか
would
ナ
be
レーター
less
が時々
confusing.
なんかやられるんだよな、精神が。
Tell me what to do in this troublesome situation. Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it to me. Give me the bucket, Stanley. I need it.
ま
Give
ず
it to me now.
何
Give
何
it
何
or
目を
I'll-
閉じて。いいけどいつまでいつまでいつまで閉じてればいいの。目閉じたけど。あれいつもの日常入っちゃった。
The meeting room. Yes, that's where
ね、あ
everyone
そこにあるの
would
で
be.
しょう。
Stanley just needed to get to the meeting room, and from then on, he would never be alone ever again.
あれはさっきのバケツの話してるこれ。あ、バケツ持ってくのやめよう。ややこしいことになってた気するわ、もう。
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
あじゃバケツだったな。バケ
Yet
ツゲ
there
ー。
was not a single person here.
これ普
either.
通のルートになるとかそういう
Feeling
感じなの
a
かな、
wave
バ
of
ケツないから
disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
やトイレね。あ
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful
いら
figurines.
ねえ。心からいらねえ。すごいキラキラキラキラって音鳴ってたじゃん。こっちは結局このさ、このエレベーターは何もないの？かってないこれ。どうなるだけ？どれでも。そうなんよな。音鳴るだけなんよな、これな。
The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere. Could he really be all alone? This was too much for Stanley to take. Too much for any man. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy.
怒られ
So
た。
he
あ、
relaxed
高
for a few moments
評価ありが
with
と
some
う。
calming new age music.
何？落ち着いたミュージック流れ出したけど。何
Feeling soothed and
元気を
rejuvenated,
取り戻した感じがします。
calmly walked
はい。
forward into the opened passageway.
ナレーターの心がたびたび折れるのなんかおもろいな。あ、
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these.
これいらないのだよな。
Mini
なんか浮いてたら撮りたくなっちゃうじゃんね。
What about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
6つ集めても何にもないって言ってるけど、6つも集めても本当に何にもないんだろうな、これ。えい。
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
こっちのやつ知りたいんだよな。俺で。
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the
あ、
truth was
ま
that
た
at
さっ
the
き
end of
の
this
とこまで
hall,
行けないのかな。
Stanley would meet his violent death.
新しいナレーター出てきたんやんね。
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
好奇心がこっちの方がある
At
んだ
this
わ。
point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
ポンポンポンポンがつい。
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss.
あ、ここで死なないの知ってるからね、私。一回もう来てるからね。何にも怖くないんだから。次のガシャコンでね、新しいナレーターさんが来るんだから。
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator.
あ、こんばんは、
as
猫
Stanley
じさんいらっ
was
しゃ
led
い。
helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant,
あ、そう
Stanley
だ、明
was
日ね、飲み配信
obliterated
しようと
as the
思っており
machine
ます。よ
crushed
ろしくお願
every
いし
bone
ま
in
す。
his
そうだ、
body,
最初の方で言おうと思ってたんだ
killing
っ
him
た。
instantly.
落ちた。でさ、こっからさ、なんか、あれあったじゃん。
Yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley
なん
would
か
restart the game back in his office.
博物館みたいなとこ行って、
What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
もう一回さっきのところに戻された時に、早
When
く
every path you can
早
walk
く
has been created
こ
for
れ
you
を押して
long
み
in
たいなやつ押さなか
advance,
ったんだよね。
death becomes meaningless, making life the
サク
same.
サク行ってみよ
Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
う。あいつが死んでたってことか。
Where were all of his co-workers? Oh, I don't know. How about they're throwing a surprise party for him for all his button pushing? Does that sound plausible?
ナレーターの、あれね。ファイトだな、ここ。フリーダムエンド。エンドいろいろあるんだな。フリーダムエンド。これだ、ここだな。先見てないんだよな。ちょっと見てから行こうか。あ、こっちから来たんだよね。じゃあ、なんかぐるっと一周はしたんだな。どこどこ。
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen.
さっきのとこでしょ。
Listen to me. You can still save these two.
彼らを救う
You
こと
can
ができ
stop
ます。あ
the
なたなら
program
ば
before they both
彼ら
fail.
は
Push escape
ゲ
and
ーム
press
終了
quit.
してこの
There's
ジャンス
no
例
other
外の
way
方
to
法。
beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do.
ゲーム終了。これでしょ。オープニングこのまんまなんだ。書き換えられたまんまなんだね。
This is the
あれ？あー、こっからなっちゃうんだ。
all of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort
バケツ持ってこ。
rushed over him. Stanley clutched the bucket
ちょっ
tightly
と
to
さっ
his
きのとこの
chest
奥の部屋
and
行って
entered
み
the
よう
door
か。
on his left.
せっかくだし。出口みたいなとこじゃなくて。なんか増えてるやん。
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
これは取ったことになってるんですね。
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire, if not, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all
いつは最
along?
初から分かっていたので
Was
し
the
ょうか。
bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
で、とした順でいくと。バケツいるこれ
The elevator
バ
raced
ケツい
down,
る
plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley
バ
could
ケ
do
ツ
to
一緒じゃ
keep
なければ
himself
スタリンは自
together,
分を
if
保っていられなかったでしょ
not
バケツいるかな
comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of
もうバケツ
uncertainty,
ギュッてしてるよ
he
今
would
多
be
分
right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
私のためにいてくれてんだねこのバケツは。
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
評価10件ありがとう。あれバケツなくなったな。バケツはあった。不安になったなちゃんと。
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with
これ
television.
最初に見た
What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
バケツも思うのそれ。最初に見た場所だけど。ネタバレ食らってるけど。
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen
バケツは
anything
こんなこと初めてで。
very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
バケツが泣き出しそうになってるけど。自分の部屋とか探せるんじゃないのこれ。そしたら。427。だっけこの部屋だっけ自分の部屋。思い出せない。たまにエラーっぽくなってるのって何いな。
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What
バケツ
kinds of
関係
things
ないの
does
よ
a
な。
bucket want to do
起きた。
or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket.
これはバケ
He
ツの中に
couldn't
向かい
accept
叫びました。
His own life in someone else's control.
でも
Never!
やってる仕事自体が結構なんか Y を押せ、はい Y です。S を押せ、はい S ですみたいな。
At this point,
だっ
he
たかな。
could trust no one
だいぶだったと思うけど。
for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking
バ
down
ケツと
the
対
system.
話してるやん。システム壊してやる
But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls. Stanley
Mute button押した
gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim
でも
the
乗っ取
power
りそ
for
の力を
itself?
勝ち取ると。バケツが
Could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen.
あ、勝って。
Birds. Silly.
あ抜けの
Silly
鳥たち。
The control buttons became active again.
おうおう
Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him. This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and
そんなことある
seabirds
間抜けの鳥を監視するための施設だったんだって。
were only a facade to disguise its true intentions. Had the bucket known this all along?
黒だ。
Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best. And Stanley was happy.
昼かわいい。どうしたら終わりなのこれ。どうしたら終わりなのこのゲームって。バケツなしで行くさっきのとこ一旦。そうしようぜ。バケツなんていらないんや。バケツのせいでわけわかんないことなしたもんな。
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
に開くんだよ。日本語だっけ？
Okay,
あれ
we
も
all
う
know the drill by now.
Okay,
Blah,
みんなどう
blah,
やってんだ
blah. Dark secrets, the keypad, Stanley
勝手に開くやんもう。
Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Kill some...
やらなくても分かってるでしょって感じで開けられたじゃんもう。省かれたわ。
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the
こん
strength
なにいっぱいあ
to
っても
find
さ
out?、
管理しきれないよね。なんかモニター、バーってやつ。
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed.
自分の部屋
Each
の
bore
番
the
号覚え
number
とくべきだ
of
った
an
な。
employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
言ってることはバケツと一緒？いや、バケツと一緒って何？
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded.
一人一人ずつがなんかもう管理されてる。そのレベル。今から君は動きますとか。
This machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life, for he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
2、3、4、5で押したらなんかあるとかあんのかな。また鳥かなこれ。
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone?
確かに同僚どこ
How
行ったん
had
だ
he
ろう。
been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path
綺麗だな。
before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
お、実績ロックした。え、今のエンディングもしかして。はい電話鳴ってない？これだ。
Hi, Stanley. Just wanted to leave you a message to let you know there's a few things I need you to pick up on your way home from work today. We need milk, cereal, dish soap, spaghetti, get a thing of sugar, some bread, and coffee beans, whichever ones you like. I'll give you a call if there's anything I forgot. Thanks, sweetie. See you tonight.
何？新しくなったけど。え、なんかいなくなった？
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he
いた
entered
わ。
the door on his left.
さっきんとかもうあれだから。
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew
こ
it
こはもう
perfectly
なんか
well.
何もなくなってんだ
Perhaps he
ね。
wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was grand, majestic, perhaps too majestic, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
なんかエンディングっぽいエンディングっぽかったけどね、今の。さっきのやつ。
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off
なん
on
か
the
落ちて
wrong
も大
foot
丈夫なと
here.
ことかないのかな？
I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've
この
been
辺で。
neglecting.
よっしょ。
Really?
イエ
In
ー
the
イ。
middle of something, do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why? How
マジでって言われ
sure
た。
of this? I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
来れたわ。ここなんだろう。かな。
Now listen carefully, this is important.
Oh.
Stanley walked through the red door.
はあ。じゃあ2つ開けなきゃいいじゃんね。あ、
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines. And now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by one? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
なんか筋子のおにぎり食べたくなってきたな。
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating. Stanley walked through the red door. All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley.
ごめんっ
You
て
want to know so badly what's out there? You wanna find out what lies at the end of the road.
ごめんっ
You've
て
chosen
ご
well.
めんっ
Don't
て
let me stop
ご
you.
めんって悪かったって。うわ、真っ暗じゃん。何ここ。
There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place.
ここに想
Broken
像定
rooms,
しなかった。
exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you?
あそこにもある。
Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see.
この
Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate
助け
these
てよ。
strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees?
エンディン
Work with me. You've given me
グなのかしら。
absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third
何
option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
なんだろうなんだろう。
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more
拍手を
choices?
踏む。
Feel free to be honest.
Oh.
I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
これ評価でしょ。いいかったら右の方やればいいんでしょ。4とかじゃない？
Okay, so we're getting
まあいけるっしょ。
Clearly, there's something here that speaks to you. If I can be honest here, I really don't have any idea where I'm going
私は
with
今後どう
this.
していい
This
かわ
whole
からない。
third door thing was just a stab in the dark. But I guess you're into it, so let's keep this party train rolling. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new
私の
version.
ゲームをもと
Perfectly
に。
candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
はい。あ、スタンリー。
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
いけ。
Hey, I nearly forgot.
もっと
I've got a
私ゲー
prototype
ム
of a new game
作
I've
った
been
んだっ
working
た。
on, and now would be a lovely
試しプレイの
opportunity
絶
to
好の
give
機
it
会。
some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you?
いいよ。
Perfect. Let me boot it up.
新しいゲームだって。
In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours.
4時
So
間
why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective. Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
これ4時間やんなきゃいけないの。いや、それはこれに関しては耐久でしょ。もうやるなら耐久でやるやつでしょ。これ4時間ってだって今からだと何時間？いや4時間だよ。待って4時間だと今から3時ぐらいまでちょっと無理だしよ。これはちょっと待って。なんかやば、なんかやだ、すごくやだ。ちょっと待って、やれないにしてもすごく嫌なんだけどこれ。嫌なんだけど。ちょっと待って、だってバイバイ。
You heartless
この血も涙もない野郎め。
because you hate babies or purely to spite me.
いやいやいやいや。
Well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for
いや
you.
いやいやいや。
I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm out. I'm
い
done.
やいやいや、こんなやわけわかんないゲーム出されて
Your input
も。
was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game just to ease the pain?
誰かが作ったゲームをプレイする？
What do we have here?
やる？
Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot. Aha! Fascinating. What do you think
お、
this
なん
game is
か、なんだ
about,
これ。
Stanley? What's our backstory? What is
そ
our
れだけでフィギュア
motivation?
登場。
Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you
肝
from
タワ
up
ー。
high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of twisted erotic purpose. Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
うん、あ、ここおお。開放的。あっちに階段がある。とことこ。よいしょよいしょ。あ、よいしょ。あ、よいしょと。なんかこういうオープンな感じ好きだな。なんかラフトみ
No,
たい
no,
な。
no, no, it can't be.
ダメって何が？
It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly block it off.
あ、あ、
Thank goodness, Stanley.
オープンワールド好きって言ったのに。
You nearly wandered off into that thing, that big open, just wandering around, no right or wrong directions, no path to follow. You can just go in any. Oh,
マイクラとかしたいな、久しぶりに。
we're out of the woods now, Stanley.
森の抜け方。
Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game, preferably something with walls,
壁のあるのに
something
何かいい
with
感じに乗り
nice,
越えられる
big,
ために。
insurmountable walls.
オープンが嫌だってことだ、そういうことに。
Okay, I think this will be just the thing. Wonderful. See, this is exactly what I had in mind. Just a nice big box for you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is game design. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed.
なんかサッカーゲームとかそういうこと？
Okay, so what exactly do we do here? Let's see. There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together. Yes, I think surely we must.
これどこにある？
Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
わお。急にゲームっぽくなったな。一人なんだよな。一人でやってもな。敵がいないと
Are
こう
you
いうの
doing
は。
it? Are you winning? Is this fun? Is it better than my miserable little story that I worked so hard on? Stanley, I have a thought, and I realize I'm not a sportsologist, but if one ball generates a certain amount of raw adrenal pleasure, then surely multiple balls makes for an even more... Hold on, what are you doing?
一緒に落ちてみたけど。
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you.
見捨てられた。
How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back.
うん、まだたくさんあったんだ。この子？あ、足元見てなかった。正しいとこ来ちゃった。ここどこ？迷子。押さないとね、燃えるんですよ。なんかすごい嫌な感じのゲームだったよね、あの赤ちゃんのやつね。メルネルさん、もしかしてちょっと見てる場所違うかな？最新のとこじゃない感じかな。迷子。旧校舎みたいな雰囲気醸し出してるけど。お、光ってる。あそこじゃない？たことない機械。 関係ない？関係ないのか？こんなに意味深なものがあって。
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end.
自分がいなくて怖かっただろうみたいなこと言われてるのもしかして。
And the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
待ちましょう言われてるわ。あ、来た来た来た。また戻ってきた。
Stanley had never seen the office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of something?
He hoped it
was. He hoped very much that it was.
鉄はいいわ。明るいんだって今。新しい道とかできてたりするのかな。
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
White ホワイトボードも結構更新されてる？もしかして。
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
ないの本当に。
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow. Just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
なんかそこまで言われると痛くなるじゃん。もうちょっと言おうぜ。なんか言ってきそうじゃない？
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
うろちょろはしてますけどね。物置って言ってもそんなに何も置いてないね。
Are you really
あなた本当にまだ物置にいる
standing
の？
around doing nothing?
どうしてなの？
Please offer me some explanation here. I'm
心から戸惑っている。いやいやいや、なんかこうやって話しかけられるからさ、なんか面白いこと言ってくれるのかななんて思ってさ。まあそうなんだけど。
If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely
確かにね、スルーしてとかって言わなかったけど。
I never would have thought to mention it.
なんか見つけちゃったからさ、開けれちゃったからさ、入れるってことは何かあるでしょって思って入っただけなんだけど。なんかな。なんかの独自の分岐点なのかもしれません。
Maybe when you go talk about this with your friend, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favorite." I hope your friends find this concerning.
ご予約ありがとう。
Stanley was fat and ugly and really, really stupid.
なんか暴言言われだしら。
Of a family connection, that's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers. Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's
あ
going
なた
on.
は死んだのです。
You're dead. You got to this broom
に
closet,
ついてちょっと調査
explored
する
it
前
a
には何
bit,
もその場で
and were
離れ
just
ようと
about
した。
to leave because there's nothing here when a physical melody of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of.
私の話してんのかこれ。
To decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person whose computer is fallen prey to any number of countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's imperative for the long-term sustainability of your species.
これスピーカーでやってなかったら聞こえないから。
The area and instruct another human to take their place, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
どうする？出る？もうないかな。あ、さすがにいいか。
Ah, second player.
あ、二人目のプレイヤ
I guarantee you can't do any worse than the person who came before.
ー。すげえ悪いことしたっぽい私。なるほどね。
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
で、こっち行って。
Close the door
ちょっと待ってさ、入ってもうめんどくさくなってるじゃん。どうしようこれ同じルートじゃない？またなんか変わってんのかな？なんだかんだで。
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
同じだね。なんかここでさ、なんか普通にバッテンを押してやってもなんかトップのところに戻るだけだったよ。
Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this
どういう施設なんだよこれ。短期さんいらっしゃい。
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It
これまた同じエンディングなりそうじゃない？
Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept.
そうだ、また自分の部屋どれなのか全然見てなかった。
No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life.
途中で降りれたりしないかな。
His control, never.
さっきのさ、サッカーのところで私が余計なことしなかったらまた違うゲームやらされる感じだったのかな。これもちょっと気になるけど。
But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power.
バケツがある状態でオンをしたんだよね。
For he would dismantle.
Oh,
Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted?
あ、ごめんなさい。
Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go. Turn the controls off.
出ていくはずでした。あ、こっちだったってことね。本当だったら。
You're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes.
始まってるとあって何
It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart.
何すればいいの？
Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time.
何するか言ってよ。ちょっと待ってよ。
Until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start.
だからさ、あ、なんかあるね。
You'd like to know where your co-workers are.
そう、同僚もいなくなってる
A
よね。
moment of solace before you're obliterated.
あ、これ1あるよ。違
You're
う。
gonna die anyway. I'll tell you
嫌だった。
exactly what happened to them.
うまく。
I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free.
これは機械のスイッチ
Of
です。
course, that was merely in this instance of the story.
バチバチ言ってるわ。
Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly
壊れ
and
てね。
then dying alone.
関係ない。
Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it
何
burn
するのこ
to
れ。
crisp. I have to say this though, this version of events has been rather amusing.
面白いバージョンですよ
Watching
こ
you
れ。
try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm
こうって
sure
書いてあった
whatever I come up with on the next go around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm
煽られ
enjoying
ても
this
何やればいい
so
かわ
much.
からないの
You
よ。
know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the
Yeah, I know.
clock. Why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me. Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now?
閉じられたんだ
You
けど。
just assumed when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off. I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this
この
room.
部屋のものすべ
These
てをクリッ
numbered
ク。
buttons. No, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button. Or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me.
画面のや
Do
つ
you
って
think
こ
that,
とはこういう
Stanley?
こ
That this video
画
game
面と
can be
2。
beaten? One solved?
違う
Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is?
笑われた。ちょっと待って待って。
Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't.
破壊してきたっ
Take
て
a
こ
look
と
at the
今。
clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left.
30秒もがけますよじゃないのよ。
30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing.
もうブチギレじゃん、7時中。ちょっと待ってよ。
Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully?
ちょっと待って、ちょっと待って。うんグラグラしてる、グラグラして
It
る。
can't, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second
す
of
ごいグラグラしてる。
inevitable life from the moment we fade in
目が、
until the
目が。
moment I say happily ever
動き
after.
とかをしてもいった。えこれなになになに
A soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain
また変わって
started.
る。
And if it did, it stopped shortly after. Stanley hoped that he would one day see weather.
え、どこ行くのが正解なのマジでこれ。バケツはいいよな、もう。なんかさ、途中のとこで落ちるやつやるか。なんか赤い部屋入れなかったじゃん。
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. And here it was, the lounge. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't
め
5
ちゃくちゃ
years
暴
ago.
言言われるわけでしょ。で、この途中であそこ
Look,
に
Stanley,
飛び
I think
落ちればいい
perhaps
んだ
we've
よね。
gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing in your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been...
Okay.
Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look,
これ見てなんか変わらんかったら終わろうかな。あ、ここだ、ここだ。
give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important.
これだ。
Stanley walked through the red door.
2回ぐらいこっち行きたいよね。
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red. Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. You see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this
こっち行くと
time.
幸せになれる
The
の。
problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop.
これ同じとこじゃない？
We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
2つ開いてる。できたとこが。
What do we want? What are we looking for?
の言い方がめちゃくちゃ煽り臭いんだよな。おお。
Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy.
そうか？
I actually feel happy.
出るか。なんだここ
No,
今度。
wait. Where are you going?
え、ここ行った方がいい？
Right. Where were we?
これ見せたいってこと？これが見せたい。ちょっと待って。いや、行くか。なんか、綺麗だねで終わろう。よいしょと。
Oh no. Stay away from those stairs. If you
Okay.
hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this.
階段がダメ？
Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this
何
from me.
そんな悪いことしてる？ああ。
Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing.
ほど。
No! Oh,
生きてる。
thank God. You lived. You had me worried. No. What are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this? Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that for me?
足遅くなってきた。これ次死ぬんじゃないの？
Is this really how much you wish
なんかごめんって。
You'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of
なんかかわいそうになってきた。ちょっと待って
kill。yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly? Yes. Perhaps you can. Perhaps you finally see what I'm talking about.
おお。めっちゃ赤くなってる。え？
I know you'll see that we can't be happy if we leave this place. You can see that, can't you?
ずっとでもここいてもこれ見せられてるだけなんじゃないの？確実に足折ってるよねこれ足遅くなってるもん。
Perhaps not.
このためだけに設置されてる階段って感じがするわ。でもなんか途中のとこにベニヤ板みたいなこういうのあるから、もしかしたらなんかに繋がるところがこういうねドアとかがあったんだろうね。 諦められてるじゃん。ダメっぽいなって言われたよ今。
Maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask. It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours.
実際こんな何回も落ちる元気ないよね。痛すぎて。どうなんだろう。
Is it over?
あ、死んだ。
It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
元気なくなっちゃってんじゃん。あれなんか変わってない？だいぶ。絶対バケツはあるんだね。あ、427ね。あ、合ってるじゃん。どうする？バケツ持ってく？あ、でもな、バケツあるとなんかいろいろややこしくなるんだよな。
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
どうしよう。なんかさっきの30秒のやつもなんとかすれば終わってたんかな。でもわかんないよね。何時？あ、12時過ぎたの？どうする？これ下行ったらもうね、
Coming
ダ
to
メ
a
だから。
staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
勝手に開くで
Here's
し
the
ょ。
door, just go.
あとやってないこと何ある？
Whoops. Nope. Never mind. Stanley actually got back
あ、でも
into
これ
the
変わりないね。
elevator and went back up. Silly me. Why did Stanley do that when he knew that it would just lead back to his boss's office? Well, that's a great question. I just can't wait to find out.
インドワイト。
Here we are, Stanley. It's your boss's office. Exactly the way it was before you got onto the elevator. It's still just exactly what it is. What a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again. This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never
あれ変わりなさそうだな、こ
anticipated.
れ
It's
は。
that keen eye for storytelling that you have. An incisive rapid fire of
もういいから、
critical
もういいから、
points,
下げさせて、
one after the
帰らせて、
other, weaving
わかった
a
から。
rich tapestry of uncompromising narrative. Wow.
ああ。
I'm bolted to the edge of my seat.
Wait.
Incredible. Now he's getting back into the elevator and going down again. Ladies and gentlemen, how does he keep coming up with all of this?
戻るんだって言って、上にまたなんかあったってことなんかな、これ。
Surely this time Stanley will walk forward into the spooky
No,
corridor,
no.
won't he? Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
いやー。
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
上まで行ってさ、
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort
戻
to
ったら
walk
なんか言われるの
forward
かな。
and willingly confront his death.
もう言われない。偉いねみたいなこと言われなかったわ。見あるよ。わかんないなこれ。
But of course, Stanley thought better of it and realized he simply had too much to live for.
でもなんか死んでるらしいじゃん。解説によるネタバレによると。
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
終わりなさそうだったら次のやつで終わろうかな。 なんかルートをちゃんと調べないと多分どこにもたどり着かない気がするんだよね。スタンリー427号室。あるね。エラーになってるとこの人たち死んじゃってんのかな。なんだろう。
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never.
コントロールされてたはずなのに、このナレーターに従わないで自力で動き出しちゃったみたいな感じなのかな、自分が。どうなんだ、本当にわかんねえ。
But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions.
あるとしたらさっきのやつの右の方でポンってやった時に30秒以内に何かやるみたいなやつなんだろうけど。
Monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
逆に戻れない。言い出しましたって言ったけども、やるしかないのか。
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility.
バケツと一緒に逆にここに来たらどうなってたんだろうね。
This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy. もやもやするもやもやする。やめ時がわからないマジで。 Stanley knew the office layout like the back of his hand.
でもまた変わってるな。
It was only a matter of time before he found the others, wherever they were. Just a matter of time.
の問題なのです。赤ちゃんの何の音しない？赤ちゃんのなんか不謹慎なゲームあったじゃん。あれ4時間ずっとなんかやり続けるとなんかあるみたいなのありそうだよね。でそれやりだしたらもう本当に耐久だからさ、あれだけど。
The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
何も言われなかった。
Oh, good Stanley. I'm glad you found your way.
マジで？なんか嬉しいって。なんかいる。なんで？知らない。普通に怖かったって今の。
You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line?
ストーリーが欲しくない。そのために行きたいけど。
Yes, that's what the fans want.
あ、動いてる動いてる。人いるやんけ。
Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well.
2時間前に聞いたやつ。2時間前に聞いたやつそのまま出してきた。
Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
あ、諦めなきゃいけない。あ、不穏なとこ来ちゃったよ。
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a
ニュー
brand
キャラ
new
を
character.
紹介する。
This is the Bucket
デ
Destroyer.
ストロイヤー。ちょっと待って。なんか言って
I
る。
think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality
buckets
that to
壊す
me,
の？
it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree? Can you
よろしく。
guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you.
バケツ
Go
壊すだ
ahead
けで
now,
しょこれ。
Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
どうやっ
Now
てね。
listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the bucket destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a
ああ、
character
なに
with
なに
only
な
one
に。
personality
投げられないんだって。
deserve to join
投
the
げ方わからないんだって。
Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the bucket destroyer, you would see that its desire to
風水
crush
欲望を
buckets
複雑
is
す
so
る要素にきち
densely
っと待って。
loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The broom closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of bucket destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this.
何言ってんの？
Okay, the bucket destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll
餌をあ
have
げ
to
なくて
hurry
は。
and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley
いや、
Parable.
バケツ離せないんだって手から。くっついてんだってこのバケツ。いや、ちょっと待って、待って、バケツ。待って違う違う違う。バケツ離したいんだけど離せないんだって言った。
The bucket destroyer, my prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were.
何暴走して勝手に壊れたってことこれ。 何だったんだよ。ええさっきのさ、ちょっと待って、バケツ取らずにさっきの。
Wait, no.
どうした
This isn't the right office, is it? Is this Stanley's office?
オフィス今度。バケツ拾わずにさっきの部屋行ってさ、エンディング見て終わろうよ。一旦。こっちか。あれ
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
なんか違う感じがしたって言ってたね。なんか最初のナレーションで何かちょっと解放されてるものが違うとかありそうだよね。大丈夫。言わんかった。この場所に対するコメントなくなってるじゃん、司会の人。
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
何も言われない。ここはダメだってって言われない。バケツなくてもやっぱさっきみたいなとこ来るのかな。
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left. Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake.
右。
No,
左
not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see, we went down...
これ見たな。これ最初と一緒でバケツがあればさっきのところに行けたってことか。
I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely
全く一緒だもんね、これ。だよね。ルートで。
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes.
そうだよ、何もすることがないんだ、ここ。
Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
あ、マジか。これさ、
All of his co-workers were
あ、
gone.
マジで正真正銘最初に戻ってない？
Stanley
風船ない
decided
も
to
ん。
go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply
マ
missed
ジ
the
か。
memo.
オッケー。こんな感じで終わっていこうと思う。なんか後味悪いな。でもエンディング結構いろいろ見れたんじゃないかな。思ったより。赤ちゃんのあのゲームの4時間やりきるみたいなルートもちょっと見てみたいけどね。絶対ダメでしょ。絶対ダメでしょ。はい、ということでちょっとスタンリーのやつやってきました。なんかね途中からさ、なんかここら辺になんだろう、風船みたいなの浮いてたんだけど、それがなくなっちゃったから本当に正真正銘最初からになったんじゃないかなっていうもので、行くべきじゃなかったか。なんかまた同じルートたどらないといけないとかありそうだよね。なんかちょっとね、いろんなルート調べてみて後でやってみたいと思うのと、それ見た上でなんか配信で続きやるか裏でやるかちょっと考えたいと思います。なんかね、結構ね勝手なことできるんだね。なんか行こうとして戻ったらめちゃくちゃ言われるみたいなやつかな。物置とかでめちゃくちゃ言われるとかね。めちゃくちゃ暴言吐かれてたけど。はい、ということで終わっていきたいと思います。はい、で、ですね、明日っていうかもう日付上今日ですけど、今日の夜飲み配信をしようと思っているので、よかったら時間あれば来てやってくださいって感じかな。告知じゃないけど、まあ、予定があるやつはそこら辺かなって思ってます。 もうちょっと、心理、確信ついたエンディング見たかったかもな。はい。ということで、終わっていきたいと思います。あ、でも、死んじゃったエンディングとかもちゃんと見たからね。はい。ということで、終わっていきたい。この続編は続編？あ、でも続編なんだ。あ、途中でさ、なんか、ナレーターの人が勝手にゲーム書き換えて続編作ってますって。なんだけど、これ続編のままってことは、あれ？じゃあ、このままってこと？っていうか、なんか最初からにはなってないってことだな。ちょっと待って、マジでわかんないね。この後絶対なんかあるじゃん、これ。はい。もうちょっと時間が時間なので終わっていきたいと思います。はい。お疲れ様でした。長い時間いてくださった方もありがとうございます。はい。様です。エンディング。バイバイ。